The morning sunlight filtered through the banyan leaves, casting dappled patterns on the serene forest floor. A gentle breeze carried the scent of wildflowers, blending with the soft chirping of birds. The Buddha sat cross-legged beneath the ancient tree, his presence radiating a profound sense of calm. Disciples gathered around him, their faces eager yet reflective, awaiting his words of wisdom. Among them stood Purna, a merchant whose spirit was burdened by recent failure and loss. Purna stepped forward, bowing deeply before the Buddha, his voice trembling with emotion. "Master," he began, "I have come seeking guidance amidst my despair." The Buddha's gaze met his, steady and compassionate, as though seeing beyond the layers of suffering. "Speak freely," Purna, the enlightened one said, his voice a soothing balm to the troubled hearts around him. "I am a merchant who once thrived, my goods reaching far corners of the land," Purna said, pausing. "But a storm, fierce and unrelenting, destroyed all I owned, leaving nothing but debris and shattered dreams." He looked down, his hands clenched tightly, struggling to contain his grief. "I had plans, Master, grand and secure. Yet, all of it vanished in a single night's fury." The Buddha listened without interruption, his presence like the still waters of a tranquil lake. When Purna's voice faltered, he finally spoke, his words carrying the weight of timeless truth. "Purna," the Buddha said, "life's nature is impermanence, a river that flows without ceasing, never holding the same water twice." His voice was calm, each syllable falling like a drop of rain into the parched landscape of Purna's heart. "What you perceive as loss," the Buddha continued, "is but the unraveling of illusions you held as permanent." The disciples listened intently, their breaths synchronized with the profound rhythm of the Buddha's teachings. "Consider the storm not as destruction, but as a teacher whose lesson is veiled in discomfort," he said softly. "But Master," Purna interjected, his tone filled with despair, "how can I rebuild when everything I cherished lies in ruin?" His eyes, now moist with tears, searched for answers beyond the horizon of his sorrow. The Buddha extended his hand slightly, gesturing toward the ground, as if grounding the conversation in truth. "The storm has stripped away your attachments, leaving you with a rare gift, the opportunity to begin again, unburdened." Purna's brow furrowed, his thoughts a tempest of resistance and contemplation. "Master, my loss feels insurmountable," he admitted, his words like a whisper to the vast universe. The Buddha's smile was gentle, his expression imbued with boundless compassion. "Purna," he said, "failure is not the end, but the fertile soil from which wisdom and resilience may grow." The disciples exchanged glances, their expressions mirroring the spark of understanding ignited within them. "Imagine a field after a flood," the Buddha explained, its surface altered but its essence enriched, awaiting new seeds. His words painted vivid imagery, each sentence a brushstroke on the canvas of their collective minds. "You, too, are such a field, Purna. Your spirit, though tested, remains fertile ground for renewal." Purna's shoulders relaxed slightly, as if the burden he carried began to dissolve into the surrounding air. "But Master," he asked, "how can I find purpose in the face of such profound failure?" The Buddha's gaze softened further, his eyes reflecting the infinite patience of the cosmos. "Purpose," he replied, "is not found in clinging to what was, but in embracing the potential of what can be." The wind whispered through the banyan leaves, as if nature itself was attuned to the unfolding wisdom. "Purna," the Buddha continued, "do not dwell on the storm's aftermath, but seek the lesson it offers. Impermanence and renewal." His words resonated deeply, like the harmonious tones of a string perfectly tuned to the rhythm of life. The merchant nodded, slowly, his heart beginning to align with the teachings unfolding before him. "Master," he said, his voice steadier now, "how can I carry this lesson forward, beyond this moment of realization?" The Buddha's expression grew contemplative, his gaze shifting momentarily to the horizon. Purna, he began, share your story, for through its telling, others may find solace and understanding in their own trials. The disciples leaned closer, sensing the significance of the words being shared. Teach others that failure is not a destination, but a bridge to self-discovery and growth, the Buddha advised. Purna's eyes widened, a flicker of hope igniting within them, illuminating the path ahead. I will, Master, he vowed, his voice carrying newfound resolve. I will carry your teachings to those who, like me, struggle to find light in the darkness. The Buddha nodded, his expression serene yet affirming, as if he had foreseen this transformation all along. Remember, Purna, he said, the journey is not without obstacles, but each challenge is a step toward enlightenment. The merchant bowed deeply, his gratitude evident in the reverence with which he held the Buddha's teachings. The disciples followed suit, their spirits uplifted by the profound truths revealed that day. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm glow upon the gathering, the Buddha closed his eyes in silent meditation. The banyan tree stood tall, its roots intertwined with the lessons imparted beneath its shade, grounding the wisdom shared. And as the disciples dispersed, their hearts carried the seeds of understanding, sown in the fertile soil of their souls. Purna, too, departed, his steps lighter, as though the weight of failure had been replaced by the wings of possibility. The storm that had once brought devastation now seemed distant, a mere chapter in the ever-flowing narrative of life. And as he walked, the merchant whispered the Buddha's words to himself, their echo guiding him forward. Impermanence is not an end, but a beginning, he said, his voice a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The forest grew quiet once more, the whispers of the wind carrying the essence of the teachings far and wide. And beneath the banyan tree, the Buddha remained, his presence a beacon of peace and understanding in an ever-changing world. Another day, another gathering beneath the sprawling banyan tree, as sunlight played upon leaves, casting radiant patterns on the ground. Disciples assembled quietly, their hearts and minds attuned to the Buddha's presence and the wisdom about to unfold. Among them stood Ananda, a farmer whose struggles with drought had left his spirit parched and his fields barren. Ananda stepped forward, his movements heavy with the weight of despair, bowing deeply before the enlightened one. Master, he began, I come before you seeking solace and understanding in the face of this relentless drought. His voice quivered, echoing the pain etched in his soul. The Buddha's gaze rested upon Ananda, steady and compassionate, his silence inviting the farmer to speak further. My crops are lifeless, the soil scorched, and my plans for providing have crumbled under the sun's unyielding wrath, Ananda said. I have tried, Master, yet my efforts have yielded only failure. I fear I cannot endure this trial much longer. The Buddha listened without interruption, his presence like a still pool reflecting the depths of Ananda's suffering. When the farmer's words ceased, the enlightened one began to speak, his voice calm yet profound. Ananda, he said, life's rhythm is not one of ceaseless abundance but of cycles. Seasons of growth and seasons of challenge. The disciples shifted slightly, their attention undivided, captivated by the Buddha's teachings as the air grew still. Your drought is not a punishment but an opportunity, the Buddha continued, to cultivate resilience and wisdom beneath the barrenness it has revealed. His words were measured, each one falling into the hearts of those gathered as seeds awaiting nourishment. But Master, Ananda interjected, his tone filled with anguish. How can I find strength when I see nothing but failure around me? His eyes brimmed with tears, searching for answers that seemed elusive as rain in the midst of drought. The Buddha's gaze softened, his presence reassuring, as though his very essence carried the promise of renewal. Ananda, the Buddha said, strength is not found in avoiding hardship but in embracing its lessons. Trusting the ebb and flow of life. His voice resonated, carrying the wisdom of countless seasons witnessed and understood. Just as barren soil may rest to renew its fertility, so too can your spirit replenish its purpose. The farmer's shoulders, tense with grief, relaxed slightly as the Buddha's words began to seep into his consciousness. Master, Ananda asked, his voice steadier now, how can I transform despair into hope when each day feels heavier than the last? The Buddha's smile was gentle, his expression imbued with timeless patience and compassion. Hope, the Buddha replied, is not found in waiting for external change, but in planting the seeds of possibility within yourself. His words painted imagery vivid and compelling, as though inviting Ananda to envision the barren fields sprouting life anew. Plant trees whose roots will draw strength from the depths of the earth, and nurture the spirit of renewal in your land. The disciples nodded subtly, their expressions reflective, absorbing the profound truths unfolding before them. Ananda, the Buddha continued, do not view the drought as an end, but as a beginning, a chance to transform what lies before you. His words wove a tapestry of understanding, where even adversity became a thread in the fabric of life. The farmer bowed his head, the weight of despair beginning to lift, replaced by a flicker of determination. Master, he said, his voice tinged with newfound resolve, how can I carry this wisdom forward, beyond this moment of enlightenment? The Buddha's gaze shifted momentarily to the horizon, the sun's rays illuminating his serene expression. Carry your lesson to others, Ananda, the Buddha said, for in sharing resilience, you inspire hope in hearts burdened by their own trials. His advice, simple yet profound, resonated deeply within the gathering, like ripples expanding in still waters. Show your village that even amidst drought, the seeds of renewal may sprout within and around them. The farmer's eyes widened, the spark of understanding igniting within, illuminating his purpose as the path ahead began to form. I will, Master, Ananda vowed, his voice steady and clear. I will plant trees and nurture not only the land but the hearts of those I call neighbors. The Buddha nodded, his expression serene yet affirming, as if foreseeing Ananda's transformation long before it began to take root. Remember, Ananda, he said, that each tree you plant mirrors the resilience within you, growing in adversity yet blossoming in time. The farmer bowed deeply, his gratitude evident in the reverence with which he held the Buddha's teachings. As the sun continued its descent, casting warm hues upon the gathering, the Buddha closed his eyes. Entering silent meditation, the banyan tree stood steadfast, its roots a testament to resilience, grounding the wisdom imparted beneath its shade. The disciples dispersed quietly, their hearts carrying the seeds of understanding sown that day. Ananda, too, departed, his steps lighter, as though the weight of failure had been replaced by the wings of possibility. The drought that had once seemed insurmountable now appeared less like an enemy and more like a teacher. As he walked, the farmer whispered the Buddha's words to himself, their echo guiding him forward. Strength lies not in resisting hardship but in embracing its lessons, he said, his voice a testament to the resilience within. The forest grew quiet once more, the whispers of the wind carrying the essence of the teachings far and wide. And beneath the banyan tree, the Buddha remained, his presence a beacon of peace and understanding in an ever-changing world. Another day, another moment beneath the banyan tree, where sunlight embraced leaves as disciples gathered around the tranquil Buddha. The atmosphere was serene, yet alive with expectation, as the enlightened one prepared to share his profound teachings. Among the assembled was Devadatta, a young scholar whose confidence seemed unshakable and whose ambition knew no bounds. Devadatta stepped forward, bowing briefly before the Buddha, his movements quick and purposeful. "Master," he began, his voice resonant with pride, "I have studied countless texts and mastered numerous teachings. I seek to engage in debate." The disciples exchanged glances, sensing the subtle tension carried in the scholar's bold words. The Buddha's gaze met Devadatta's, calm and unyielding, as though the young man's pride were but a ripple in still waters. "Speak freely," Devadatta, the enlightened one said, his tone welcoming yet measured, inviting the scholar to continue without hesitation. "Present your thoughts, and let the dialogue unfold naturally," he encouraged. Embodying patience and clarity, Devadatta launched into his arguments, his words swift and logical, drawing from years of rigorous study and scholarly prowess. "The path to enlightenment," he declared, "is paved by intellect and mastery of doctrines. Surely, wisdom is achieved through structured knowledge alone." His statements were crisp, leaving little room for ambiguity. As he sought to impress the great teacher, the Buddha remained silent, his expression serene, allowing the scholar's arguments to flow uninterrupted, like a river following its course. When Devadatta finished, the enlightened one's voice emerged, steady and profound, carrying the weight of eternal truths. "Devadatta," the Buddha said, "wisdom is not confined to intellect, nor mastery of doctrines, but arises from awareness and humility." The disciples leaned closer, their breaths synchronized with the profound rhythm of the Buddha's teachings, captivated by the unfolding dialogue. "True wisdom," the Buddha continued, "is like the lotus that blossoms from mud, untainted by its origins yet nourished by them." His words painted vivid imagery, inviting Devadatta to consider perspectives beyond the rigidity of his own views. "But Master," Devadatta interjected, his tone carrying an edge of defiance, "surely knowledge forms the foundation of awareness, and intellect guides the path to enlightenment." His confidence remained intact, yet traces of doubt flickered within his gaze, evident to those attentive to subtleties. The Buddha's gaze softened, his presence reassuring, as though his wisdom extended beyond the limits of the spoken word. "Knowledge," the Buddha replied, "is not a fortress to defend, but a light to share, illuminating the path for oneself and others." His words resonated deeply, not only within Devadatta but among the disciples gathered, each one drawing insight from the dialogue. When intellect becomes a source of pride, it obscures awareness, separating the seeker from the essence of truth, the Buddha said. The scholar's posture stiffened slightly, his thoughts a storm of resistance and contemplation, wrestling with the truths laid bare before him. "Master," he asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty, "how can one balance intellect with humility when pride emerges naturally from achievement?" The Buddha's smile was gentle, his expression imbued with boundless compassion and understanding. "Balance," the Buddha explained, "is achieved not by suppressing intellect, but by embracing humility, recognizing the limitations inherent in all human understanding." The disciples nodded subtly, their expressions reflective, absorbing the profound truths that mirrored their own journeys. "Wisdom lies in surrendering to vulnerability," the Buddha continued, "allowing one's flaws to illuminate the depth of learning yet to unfold." Devadatta's shoulders relaxed slightly, as though the weight of pride had begun to dissolve, replaced by the seeds of self-awareness. "Master," he said, his voice steadier now, "how can I carry this realization forward, beyond this moment of revelation?" The Buddha's gaze shifted momentarily to the horizon, the sun's rays painting the landscape in hues of gold. "Devadatta," the Buddha said, "share your story, for through its telling, others may recognize the fragility of pride and embrace humility." His advice, simple yet profound, resonated deeply within the gathering, like ripples expanding in a quiet pond. Teach others that failure in argument is not the end of wisdom but the beginning of self-awareness, the Buddha continued. The scholar's eyes widened, the spark of understanding igniting within, illuminating the path ahead as doubt yielded to clarity. I will, Master, Devadatta vowed, his voice steady and clear. I will embrace humility and share my journey, aiding others in their pursuit of truth. The Buddha nodded, his expression serene yet affirming, as if he had foreseen Devadatta's transformation all along. Remember, Devadatta, the Buddha said, the journey is not without obstacles, but each challenge is a step toward enlightenment and understanding. The scholar bowed deeply, his gratitude evident in the reverence with which he held the Buddha's teachings. The disciples followed suit, their hearts uplifted by the profound truths revealed, leaving no trace of division among them. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting warm hues upon the gathering, the Buddha closed his eyes in silent meditation. The banyan tree stood tall, its roots intertwined with the lessons imparted beneath its shade, grounding the wisdom shared. And as the disciples dispersed, their hearts carried the seeds of understanding, sown in the fertile soil of their souls. Devadatta, too, departed, his steps lighter, as though the weight of pride had been replaced by the wings of humility. The debate that had once carried his ambition now seemed distant, a mere chapter in the ever-flowing narrative of life. And as he walked, the scholar whispered the Buddha's words to himself, their echo guiding him forward. Wisdom arises not from victory but from humility, he said, his voice a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The forest grew quiet once more, the whispers of the wind carrying the essence of the teachings far and wide. And beneath the banyan tree, the Buddha remained, his presence a beacon of peace and understanding in an ever-changing world. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.